In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to properly drive a manual transmission car in just under 15 minutes. If you haven't already, welcome to the channel. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you like this video, because I'm going to be doing a full series of these videos. The first one being to show you how to properly drive your manual transmission car. The second video on a more advanced technique, how to properly heel and toe downshift. And then my third video for when you eventually do get on the track, or you want to get on the track, my top 5 tips on how to drive a manual transmission car on the track. But let's get started. You're probably watching this video because you just got your brand new car and it's a manual transmission. You want to learn how to use it. I'm going to show you in these simple steps how to start going ahead, driving your car with the awesome stick shift. So the first thing you're going to do is obviously get in your car. Whatever car it is, it's all going to be the same. In this case, I'm in my 2008 Audi R8 with the gated 6-speed manual transmission. The next thing you want to do is find an empty parking spot. So this is a big open lot. There's no cars, there's no bumps, it's flat. This is the perfect spot to go ahead and start learning how to drive a manual transmission. The other thing you'll want to do is when you get in your car, make sure that you're comfortable. Your seating position is correct, your mirrors are adjusted, you understand how the car is functioning and working. I know my car idles at around 800 RPM. I've turned it on and I'm in neutral and I have a 6-gear gated manual. You may have 5 gears. You may have some other way of doing this, or some other cars may have a different reverse, but it's usually first goes up, second, third, fourth, fifth, and if you have a 6th, it's down here. In this case, my reverse gear is pushing down and going into reverse. So get familiar with kind of how your gearing works in your car. Now, the first thing I always like to talk to people about when you're learning a gated manual or any manual transmission is how does this actually work with the car? And the best analogy I have is right now I'm in neutral. The car, I have not selected a gear for the car. But just like if I go into my home, what's the first thing I do? I need to open the door. So if I want to go ahead and select the first gear, I need to go ahead and depress the clutch. And so in any manual car, you're going to have 3 pedals down below your feet. You're going to have your clutch on the left side, your brake pedal in the middle, and your gas on the right. And so what I want to do, in order to select first gear or any gear, you always want to fully depress the clutch and then go into that gear. Now, my foot is still depressed in the clutch and I'm in first gear. It has not engaged first gear yet because I'm still on the clutch. Now, if you can imagine, if I want to go to second, that's still possible because again, the gates are open and I can go into any gear that I want because the clutch is depressed and down. Now, back into first gear, if I were to release the clutch, that is what will fully engage that first gear, and that will mate the gear that you selected to the engine, and that will get you driving. So that's what we're going to be doing in our kind of first test and our practice test of what I'm going to show you to get the car moving. But it's always good to think about how does this work. A good analogy is think about it when you're going into your house. What do? You're going to walk in by first opening the door, so depress the clutch. You're going to walk into your house, great, and you're going to close the door behind you, which means you're going to release the clutch, and that's going to get you moving forward, just like that. That's kind of how I think about the gearing. Now, one exercise I want to do is to start actually moving forward with the car. That's a very important step. So what we're going to do is, number 1, look at your engine RPM. So right now I'm at about 800 and that's my idle. This is important for this exercise that I'm going to show you how you're going to start actually getting the car rolling in first gear. Now, you don't have to press the gas at all with this first exercise. It's really easy. We're going to get the car moving and it's going to actually build you confidence as you get into the different stages. So keep an eye on the engine RPM. You never want it to go underneath the idle RPM. And part of this exercise is going to show you, you're going to kind of figure out what this balance is on your car, and every car is a little bit different of the clutch point of when it engages. So if you remember, I said when you're in first gear and the clutch is depressed, it's not engaged yet. But when you start removing your foot from the clutch, there's this large area where you're going to remove the foot from the clutch. Every car is going to be a little bit different, but it's going to engage at some point. You're going to start feeling the engine engage with that gear. And what's going to happen naturally is that your engine RPM will start to fall a little bit as it engages that gear. And what you want to do is make sure you don't engage the gear too quickly. You don't want to release your foot too fast. You want to release your foot gradually so the engine slowly catches the gear and then fully engages and you're moving. So we're gonna start with the first exercise. You're gonna get in, you're all comfortable. You're in neutral. I'm gonna go depress my clutch because I'm gonna open the door of my home. I'm gonna select first gear. I've walked in my home. Now, I'm going to slowly close the door. And how slowly is based on the engine RPM, right? I don't want it to drop any lower than this, 800 RPM on my case. And all I'm gonna do now, with no gas, is I'm going to go ahead and slowly release the clutch. Slowly, slowly, I'm watching the engine RPM. Slowly, oh, okay, that's fine. But look, I'm moving. Keep going slowly, slowly until you fully engaged, and now I'm fully off. Awesome. So you saw a little bit of dips, that's okay. And now look, I'm moving. This is great. I'm now moving the car with no gas. Now, what do you do to stop? I want to stop. In any emergency situation, when you think, okay, I just want to stop, especially when you're practicing, it's important to know this. All you have to do is re-engage the clutch and then press the brake and then go into neutral. So I'm going to engage the clutch, brake, and go into neutral. And I've stopped. Awesome. Always think about that. If you ever need to stop, right, you can just clutch, brake, and go into neutral. Now, for whatever reason, if you forget to push the clutch down and you just brake, that's okay, but you will stall if you are in gear. So your engine RPM will go down to 0 and the car will just shut off and you'll need to turn it back on. So let's try that again. We're gonna go in clutch in, first gear, slowly release first gear, no gas. Oh, look, the engine RPM, I'm going slow, slower, 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 and it's caught. Great, and now I'm in first gear. Now you're driving your manual transmission car, you're in first with no gas. What you're going to want to do is do this, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. Repeat this over and over again, and you're gonna get used to where the clutch point is of your car, right? This is a great, important first exercise. This is gonna get you to understand how your car actually engages with the clutch. Very, very important. Now, if I wanted to put some gas in, okay, I can put some gas in. Awesome, I'm driving my car. This is great. If I wanted to brake and stop, again, clutch in, brake, go into neutral. Awesome. And if I want to get started again, first gear, slowly release the clutch. And because I'm a little bit on an uphill here, it was a little bit more of a struggle, and I'm back to going. Great. So what happens for some reason if you stall the car? And that's completely fine. All you're gonna do is restart the car and turn it back on again and go. It's okay if you stall the car. It's not gonna damage your clutch or engine too much, especially when you're going at low speed. So there's nothing to worry about there. So once you've gone ahead and done this a bunch of times, you're comfortable, you're gonna start going into first gear, then you're gonna go into second gear. So you don't really need to press the gas in here for second gear. And if you think about your gearing, think about your lower gears, 1, 2, and 3 are for lower speeds, and for 4, 5, and 6 are your higher speeds. So because we're obviously in a parking lot, I'm using first, and then I'm gonna show you how to use second gear. So let's say I'm just driving along now, and again, I'm gonna wanna go into second. So I'm gonna turn this car around, I'm in first, I'm pressing a little bit of the gas now, and all I'm gonna do is the same thing. I wanna go into the second gear house. So what do? I need to open the door, clutch down, and then once I clutch down, I'm gonna go into second, and I'm gonna release the clutch, but quickly, right? We don't wanna do it the same way that we did when we're starting in the first exercise. So clutch in, second, and quickly remove the clutch, and that's that. Because I'm going at a slow speed, you don't actually need to put gas into that. But if you want, put a little bit of gas after you've disengaged with the clutch, put a little bit of gas. So now I'm in second gear, and I'm driving along. Now if I want to stop, again, go into neutral, clutch in, and I'm stopped. Repeat this exercise. Go from first, and now start putting gas. So once you've learned kind of going into second gear, you've done that a bunch of times, you've learned how to go into first gear without any gas, let's start going out in first gear with some gas. So first gear, all you're gonna do is release the clutch, and at the same time you're releasing the clutch, add a little bit of gas. But do the same thing around, you know, when you've disengaged that first gear, you know now where it kind of catches in that area of release. So you want to just add gas during that area when it catches. So let's do that again. I'm gonna turn this car around. I'm gonna stop. So I'm gonna clutch in, go into first or go into neutral. First, clutch is still in. I'm going to release the clutch slowly. Now I'm adding a little bit of gas. Release the clutch slowly. I'm adding more gas and I'm fully disengaged. Now I'm in first gear. And then now I'm shifting second gear, fully disengaged clutch now. So right there, what you should be doing is practicing this first and second gear. And really, once you've mastered first and second gear in this parking lot, gear 4, 5, 6, it's all the same. You're just gonna be at a highway speed or higher speeds to go ahead and drive the car. But this is really like the main fundamentals that you need to know when you're driving a manual transmission car, is getting to understand the car and the clutch point, right? That's a big key. And then just remembering, every time you go into gear, you wanna engage the clutch. Every time you wanna get out of the gear, you wanna engage the clutch, right? You're going in the house, you're going out the house, you're getting the clutch in, and then you're pulling the clutch out, okay, when you want to enter or stay in that gear. So very simple. Now let's take it out after you've done this a bunch of times. Make sure you're very comfortable with this. We're going to go out on the road. I'm going to show you a little bit how it looks like on the road. So I'm going to go back into first gear, clutch is in, I'm going to release, I'm going to put some gas. Awesome. And now I'm driving my way. Now you're going to think about the rules of the road. Now you're actually on the road. And I'm gonna come in here, I'm in first, and you're gonna see, I'm gonna show you how quickly it actually is gonna all look like, because now I'm on a road. So it's gonna be a little bit different, right? It's gonna be a lot quicker, especially with the clutch. So I'm in first, I'm driving. Everybody's car is a little bit different, but ideally a good shift point when you're in city driving is between 2,000 to 3,000 RPM. So I'm at 2,000 to 3,000 RPM, I'm in first, I'm gonna clutch in, go into second, release clutch, and put a little bit of gas. Now, if your movements are, if it's a little jerky, that's okay. You're gonna get used to it and everything will end up panning out. So that's completely fine, don't worry too much about that. Now I'm in second. Now, we haven't been into third yet, but how easy is it to go into third? It's the same thing that you've always done. You're gonna clutch in, you're gonna go to third, release the clutch and add a little bit of gas. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm gonna accelerate, clutch in, third gear, clutch out, little bit of gas. Now, I'm adding that little bit of gas as soon as basically I'm in that engaging point with the clutch. And I've released the clutch pretty quickly when I'm fully engaged, and then you're in third gear. So now I'm in third gear here. Now if I accelerate, I continue to go down this road, I'm gonna clutch down or clutch in, go to fourth, clutch out. Very, very simple. Now again, remember, in case something happens, oh no, like you have this fear of how can I stop the car? Just remember, you can press the brake, but you need to clutch down, otherwise you're gonna stall. Your RPM would have stalled. Okay, now I'm back in first gear and I'm driving. And I'm putting that gas in. Second gear. I'm coming up to a stop sign here. Now one tip, just FYI, when you come to a stop sign, you should actually clutch down, go into first. There's a reason why. It's about safety. Let's say you see somebody's coming behind you in your mirror and they're gonna hit you. How do you get out of the way quickly? If you're in neutral, you're basically stuck here and you're gonna have to take extra time to go into first. If you're already in first, worst case scenario, somebody's coming for you, just get the hell out of there, right? Put that gas in and go into first, second, third, fourth. And now I need to stop. I'm slowing down, I'm pressing the brake, and I'm gonna clutch in, go into first. Perfect. Now, there's another technique called downshifting, which I'm going to be showing you how to do in another video. So again, if you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe. Give this video a like. I hope this video is helpful, guys. It really helps support the channel, and I hope you guys follow me along on my journey on this car. Anything to do with cars, motorcycles, detailing, I cover it all on this channel, so make sure, again, you subscribe. I'm gonna turn this car around right now and just give you another little tip on how you can easily drive a manual transmission. So now think about it. Look, I'm at a lower RPM. I need to go ahead, go into my second gear here and add a little bit of gas. What you always want to do is make sure you're avoiding going in stalling, right? You need to make sure you're gearing and how you're driving this car, that you're in your optimal RPM range. So always think about, is the engine feeling good at this RPM range? And you will hear it, right? When you get used to your car and your engine, you will know what your healthy RPM is based on the sounds of your engine, right? In this case here, I have the V8 behind me and I can hear all this really clearly. So again, I'm stopped, clutch is fully in. I want to accelerate fast out of this. So you want to add that gas in, right? So clutch is in, I'm in first gear. I'm going to release the clutch faster, right, than we did in the training while I'm adding some gas. Here we go. Clutch in, releasing faster, adding some gas, and I'm moving. And now I go into second, out of the clutch. Now I go to third, clutch in, clutch out, gas in. Clutch in, clutch out, gas in. Stop sign, slowing down. Gonna put the clutch in. You can put the clutch in at any point. I would say you always want to put the clutch in kind of closer to where you're stopping. First gear, you're stopped. Again, clutch out while you're pushing that gas and you're in first. Clutch in, second, third, fourth. Now, you can go to fifth, you can go to sixth. I don't recommend that in the highway. Those are typically highway gears. You just want to be in a stable RPM that's comfortable for you. So like on this car, when you're city driving, it's 2,000 to 3,000 RPM is more than enough. And you want to be in the power band. So that's the third video that I'm going to do, which describes kind of how to take your car to the track, be in the optimal power band so that you can actually accelerate out of turns. That's more advanced. If you want to, again, find that video, I will have it on this channel, so make sure you subscribe again. But guys, that is the basics, right? That is the basics on how to properly drive a manual transmission. I really hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment box down below. I'd love to help you out. But this is such an amazing thing because not many people know how to drive a manual transmission anymore. It's kind of a lost art, and it's the best way to be connected to your car. It truly is one of the best ways to be connected to your car. It's so much more fun, so much more engaging, and it's a kind of a dying art. So I'm so glad that I've kind of helped teach you how to drive these wonderful machines that are kind of going away, because the excitement and the fun that you'll have and the engagement of driving your car is going to be so much better. So I'll leave you with a little bit of exciting driving of what you'll hopefully be able to do after you've watched these videos. And then, you know, I'll give you a little taste of what a downshift looks like. Downshift to third. I kind of missed that downshift, that's okay. But that next video will be how to properly downshift your car with your standard or manual transmission. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will catch you guys in the next video.